Well, back to your question, what other technologies? There are a graduate class especially. I've had people, as an assignment, post to the Comp Facts Wiki. That's Composition Frequently Asked Questions Wiki, which is a tool that we have in rhetoric and composition. And this is, you have to learn the genre of the wiki, you have to learn the genre of frequently asked questions, you have to define good questions, do the research, and they do an annotated bibliography, and so all of that is in lieu of a research essay, which I think is much more valuable, and it also gives graduate students a kind of publication. And then I also tried a blog once. I was in a blog study group, and I had the students, as part of their assignment, well, the focus of the course was journal writing. This was an advanced nonfiction class. So we read journals, we kept a journal, we read Virginia Woolf's journal, and then we also chose a theme area, read some kind of somewhat credible blog about it for about 2 or 3 weeks, and then I used the blog feature in Blackboard for students to post what they were doing. The thing about blogs is they unfold in real time backwards, so you can't see them as well as you can see the discussion board. And I think a blog post has a different feel, the genre, from discussion board. You know, there's a slight a different voice there. So I tried that. I do think blogs are really useful. I think writers should have blogs because you need visibility, and it's one way to get readers. Other ways I've used the internet, always research, you know. I mean, students should always be Googling terms, using the academic form of Google or other search terms, using the library online. I don't see how you could teach writing today and not use technology. I really don't. You learn so much faster, so much quicker. You live and breathe it, and this is what you're going to have to do if you're going to be a writer.
Yeah.
You have to use the internet.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. Does it?
Actually, I have rarely used video. I've often used audio. I will bring in NPR pieces, and I worked for NPR for a couple of years and did commentaries for All Things Considered, and so I will bring in commentaries I did then and have the students listen to them and then write their own commentaries and record them and play them for the other students, and then bring out the hard copy and go down and learn about writing for the ear as well as writing for the eye. And so I use it that way, but I haven't yet. And I've been teaching mostly, you know, high undergraduate and graduate classes, so I haven't been doing much of using videos. When I taught American Lit, you know, I would bring in movies and show them parts of movies, and as much, you know, to engage them in the story, because it was what they're used to seeing things now. And the other thing in the digital age, and I'm including just television in that, I've got this 2-book rule when I'm talking, and if I say I want to talk about The Sun Also Rises, something that Hemingway did, and I'll say, how many have read that? And maybe one will raise their hands, and I'll say, As I Lay Dying, the Faulkner book, how many have read that? And maybe 2 will raise their hand, and then I'll bring up a movie, and they'll all have seen that. So we'll use that to talk about story, at least, and point of view and the way things are presented. So I have used it some, I guess.
So you try to use it to relate to your students in a way. Okay.
Yeah.
And going back to that, that using the audio, did you say that was for, is it This I Believe, or NPR you said, right?
Yeah.
NPR. So do you think that does something different for your students that they couldn't attain by just writing an essay?
Yeah, I think it grabs the listener's attention in a way that writing, reading writing doesn't.
Grabs the student's attention.
Yeah. And then when you read the hard copy, and it says, this was a commentary for all things considered, such a date, you read it as if you're listening to it. And it's a different type of writing. You've got 600 words to, and you have to, it has to be colloquial in a way rather than either, really, stylistic like fiction might be, or rhetorical, like an essay might be. If you go in with a dry compare and contrast, or start listing things, everything you're taught in 101, it doesn't come across very well to the ear. And so it's good for the students to learn that, I think. I think you ought to do it traditionally and learn how to write traditional essays and then post them on the internet for everybody to read. But you're still writing, you're learning to write, you're learning rhetoric, you're learning, persuasive writing. And that's going to help you in your blogs forever when that's what you're doing.
So recognize the mediums that they could potentially go into, but still employ the basics of English and English mechanics.
Yes, absolutely.